eastbound. It's in the Porter Ranch area, and look how it is just cutting through traffic with no problem whatsoever. As Stu has been telling us, this car has been going at high rates of speed, and in fact, we believe the original want for getting this car to pull over was indeed speed. So you can see right now, it looks like he's in the number 2 or number 3 lanes right there, going at a quick, brisk pace. Now he's moving over into closer to that center divider, but again, just passing cars going at a very brisk speed. And Stu, you're telling us anywhere from
100 miles an hour.
100 miles an hour and up, right?
100 miles an hour, Juan, for sure. He's just getting into the triple digits. That was the 405 right there, using just about every lane available to him this evening. And you can see that car just continues to move, zipping in and out of lanes. And again, this is a Honda Civic. I'm not sure exactly the year, a newer model, but now really trying to get that distance between him and the California Highway Patrol. I'm going to get a little bit of wider shot just to see how far back they are. We are listening to them. I do hear them making calls, but you can see that they've basically dropped very far behind. I'm wondering if they're even going to try to keep up with this vehicle because of these high speeds, and the original want was just speed. Right now, I probably would throw reckless on there as well. Looks like he's transitioning onto the southbound 5 freeway. At this point, we don't see any reds and blues, meaning no police or first responders behind him. But this vehicle continues to move extremely quickly, trying to blend into traffic, actually using the emergency lane as we're just starting our southbound transition onto the 5 freeway this evening. California Highway Patrol, I just saw him out the window a second ago, so they are behind him. They are making their way all the way onto the emergency lane. Wow. He's got a couple of options up here for some off-ramps. But even that little Honda Civic, crazy high speeds like this, there's some very, very sharp hairpins out here. He's going to have to be hard on the brakes, or we're going to see some action that driver might not be expecting.
Stu, do you know if the CHP chopper is also following along?
At this point, no helicopters except for Sky 9 are out here this evening over this chase. They did ask for LAPD is probably going to be the closest one. They might be making their way out here. I'll get that information if and when it occurs. It looks like we might be taking on Van Nuys Boulevard, and he's making that hard turn passing in the emergency lane, coming around a corner here. Actually, I'm very familiar. This is going to be Osborne. Looks like cutting some people off. It looks like we're going to be heading southbound on Osborne. Definitely in the Pacoima Sunland area right now, and it looks like his lights are off, getting into a residential neighborhood. Looks like he might be giving the officers a slip this evening. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll get some street names for you, but you can see no officers behind him as the car is basically parking now in a residential neighborhood. And see if we can see this guy jump out.
And was that what we just saw there? The lights kind of flash on the car, Stu, because it's pretty dark on that street.
Yep. Very dark on that street, getting out, very casual. White socks, I can tell you that. Walking one way, walking back the other. Maybe he's going to get back in the car. Why not? There he goes, back into the vehicle. A lot of times these people feel safer inside the vehicle. Maybe he's thinking if the law enforcement gets up close enough or gets close to him, they'll be able to, maybe he'll be able to start the car and take off again. At this time, though, we have no way to communicate with law enforcement on the ground. We're just keeping an eye on this car here for a moment or two, see if the California Highway Patrol finds this needle in a haystack. This is in the Pacoima area near Sunland. There we go. We got a light on it right now. A night sun. So there's probably an LAPD helicopter. I got to. Actually, it's another.
Taking off again.
It's another media ship. There we go. Okay. And he's off, and he's on the go. And that was pretty much the key. He's probably figured it'd be easier to drive away than try to hide. The car continuing to move now. We'll get you some street names right now.
All right, we're looking at a pursuit that's now gone from the freeways onto local streets in the Pacoima area right there. As Stu was telling us, this car getting off at Osborne. For just a moment, the driver got parked, got out of the car, and then started walking around, and then got back in the car. When he saw the overhead lights on him, started to take off again. So still trying to figure out whether or not California Highway Patrol or local law enforcement is going to track this guy down. But you can see here, he's on pretty dark streets. There's that night sun again, lighting up the car to at least let the officers and the public out there know what's going on, to definitely be careful. Earlier tonight, we did see this car. We believe it's a Honda Civic, a newer model, going at very high rates of speed. Look at that on the right side of your screen. That was earlier. when the driver got off the freeway and onto local streets. That was that right turn on Osborne, and then that right turn onto a residential street. We saw this car go very quickly on the 118 freeway, then on the 5 freeway, and eventually he got off into residential streets. Original want, as far as we know, was speed. This car is definitely this driver going at a pretty high rate of speed. And with Stu back with us here, giving us this live picture, it looks like he is still on the go.
Yep, getting back onto the freeway, making his way back onto the 5 freeway right there. We'll see which way he's headed. It looks like he's back southbound once again, starting to blend back in there. We were listening in on the on some of the CHP channels, and it does sound like the California Highway Patrol getting some wrong information. He got off on Osborne. We were hearing that they were getting information that people were saying that he got off on Van Nuys. So that's going to really kind of get a delay for the law enforcement to get back behind it. Southbound 5 freeway right now. We're definitely going to be in the Arleta area, making our way over towards the 170 if he takes it. Could stay on the 5. Little bit slower speeds, just not in the hundreds, but definitely passing vehicles. So you're probably guessing about 80 miles an hour this evening. I can tell you right now, Sky 9 is tracking that vehicle just about at 90. So we're probably right. So he's probably right about that speed. Looks like we're going to get way over. That doesn't mean he's not going to be getting onto the up. It does mean in this case he's going to stay on the southbound 5, and we'll see what happens. If California Highway Patrol picks it up. I do see a law enforcement helicopter, and I'm hearing them talking. So they're giving information right now to the California Highway Patrol that they have eyes on the vehicle and southbound 5 freeway, and we're going to be approaching Sunland Boulevard here in just a moment.
And Stu, this guy was originally wanted for possibly speeding, doing 100 on the freeway, right? Is that
right? Well, we don't know we saw this car doing about 100 on the freeway earlier on. Originally, though, it was kind of, I used the word nutty. He was making high-speed U-turns on the surface streets. He was on Chatsworth. He would make a U-turn. He'd get on Balboa. He was on Reseda, and moving very, very quickly, trying to elude the officers from California Highway Patrol. But they stayed behind him. And then when we saw it, when he got on the freeway, that's when he really started to open it up, and he created that distance between this vehicle and the officers. And again, we only know this vehicle is wanted for speed, and a lot of times they have to weigh the odds. How badly do we want, how much in danger should we put the public to get this vehicle to stop? How much danger should we put our officers in to get this vehicle to stop? So in this case, this car is not slowing down. It hasn't slowed down at all. Speeds continue to move and continue to climb as we're working our way southbound 5, getting very close to Burbank. We're going to be passing the Empire Center here very quickly. Gives you an idea how fast we're moving. And this is going to probably get the officers back into pursuit.
And definitely, if he keeps going on the 5 southbound, he'll eventually make it closer to Griffith Park, obviously Dodger Stadium, and then into downtown Los Angeles, where, of course, traffic is going to be a lot heavier. He did have that one option of taking the 170 southbound, which would have taken him into North Hollywood and eventually towards the 101 southbound. And again, heavier traffic normally in that area, especially through the Cahuenga Pass. But this driver stayed on the 5 southbound, and as Stu was telling us, he was going to pass the Empire Center right there where the Target store is and where the Walmart store is. So you all know where that is. There's a Costco not too far from there. So that's that part of Burbank that we're talking about. But you can see right now, traffic is pretty light at this hour, and this driver cutting right through just all drivers on both the left and side and right side of him.
And he just crisscrosses lanes. Sometimes he uses his blinkers, sometimes he doesn't. At one point we saw him in the emergency lane, flying past all sorts of cars. Looks like he continues to do that. How fast do you think he's going at this point, Stu?
I'm guessing I'm going to put it. We are basically kind of just tracking along, maybe a little bit ahead of him. So definitely into the hundreds, maybe 110.
Wow.
Don't know what the limiter is on this, but look at this. Just
close.
Passing vehicles. That was the emergency lane out there. So he's riding up very close to that wall. And you know, maybe it's a good thing every now and then when he gets into those emergency lanes. A lot of debris out there. Maybe he'll pick something up. Maybe he'll get a flat tire. It's like its own little spike strip, you know. So maybe that when he's driving in those those lanes with all that debris, he might pick something up, get a flat tire, and bring this to and end safely. Right now, though, I can tell you LAPD is working with California Highway Patrol. I'm going to have to start changing some frequencies because they are getting into different areas themselves, different divisions, but they are working to get California Highway Patrol to re-engage this pursuit. So we'll see some lights and sirens. Hopefully that's going to help some of the public this evening, but this car moving extremely fast, getting close to some other cars there. You haven't used a blinker, but really, what difference is that going to make if this guy uses a blinker? You're going to look in your mirror, you're going to see headlights, and this car is going to be passing you. And right there, really squeezing between some cars. And this could be part of the issue as well. Somebody might be planning to make a lane change, not thinking that this guy is going 100 and something, and might make a lane change into this car. Hopefully, this will end peacefully. Very fast-moving pursuit this evening. Going to be getting out of the Burbank area. Glendale, we're going to touch on Glendale, and then the Los Feliz is our next stop if he stays southbound 5.
All right, Stu, while you change frequencies and catch up with law enforcement there, we want to go ahead and update our viewers who may be tuning in for the first time now. We've been following this pursuit for just under 10 minutes or so. This is a Honda Civic. Apparently it was wanted for speeding, and you can see exactly what's going on right now. We've been monitoring this pursuit for the last few minutes or so, and this car, on both the right and left part of your screens there, you can see definitely taking some quick turns at high rates of speed. On your right-hand side, this was just moments ago when the driver got off of the freeway. He was on the 118 freeway, then the 5 freeway, stopped onto some surface streets for a little bit, possibly giving police the slip, but then there was a helicopter that was up above, lit him up with the night sun, as it's called at night, the spotlight, and the driver got back inside his car and kept going. So he thought he was going to get away from police for apparently speeding, and who knows what else may be inside the car, but he is right now still continuing to move at a brisk rate of speed, over 100 miles an hour. He's in the Burbank area now, and as Stu was telling us, shortly he'll be hitting the Los Feliz area, of course, and then getting closer and closer to downtown Los Angeles and the freeway interchanges down there as well.
Juan, right now it looks like he's going through Griffith Park. You can see the chopper spotlight over this person. Apparently he's been going hitting speeds up to 100 miles per hour, not using his blinker at times, flying down the 5 freeway, passing by cars. Just definitely a reckless scene out there. So far we haven't really seen any CHP officers or cruisers out there, maybe trying to stay back for safety reasons, but you can see this guy just flying down the 5 freeway, Griffith Park. At one point we thought he would get out of his car when he was in the residential neighborhood. That didn't happen. Let's go back up to Stu, who's been watching this whole thing happen. Stu.
Well, just going to let all our viewers know we are all huge Dodger fans. Go LA! But there is a game this evening.
Uh-oh, that's traffic.
TFR, yes.
Oh, no.
No, it's not the traffic. It's going to be the TFR. So
you
the
can't fly
helicopter,
through.
We can't fly through. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to keep the shot the best we can. Brendan's going to do some awesome flying. I'm going to try to stretch my camera abilities to their greatest length and see if we can keep an eye on this vehicle on the freeway. California Highway Patrol, their setup right now is basically they're going to wait and have this vehicle come to them. That's the way it sounds like what they're going to do. They're not going to try to chase or catch up. They've got units a little bit farther down the road, and they're going to try to intercept this chase. So right now we're starting to move away from the freeway, so you're going to see the shot kind of get a little bit farther and farther away. This car, maybe it's not going to stand out as much as if it would with a bunch of law enforcement behind it. We're going to make every effort to keep an eye on it. Of course, we get updates from the LAPD helicopter that's overhead. They are immune. They are law enforcement, so we'll be able to. They'll be able to give out locations. So we'll just join them on the other side, as it would be. But right now, definitely getting into the Los Feliz area. You can see that vehicle. Even with these side shots, it really kind of gives you an idea how fast this car is moving. And 90, 95 is what the law enforcement is saying right now. Definitely passing Glendale right there, Glendale Boulevard. So continuing southbound on the 5 freeway. I got some hills in the way, so I got to work with Brennan here, and just I'll be back with you guys in a second. Can we bump it up a little?
All right, as Stu was telling us there, talking about those flight restrictions, the reason we're seeing his shot get further and further away from the action right there is there are certain parts of Los Angeles, LAX, Dodger Stadium, Disneyland, where there is a flight restriction. Our chopper can't fly through that area, and because there is a Dodger game tonight, we are restricted from doing that. So Stu's doing his best to get around that flight restriction, get around Dodger Stadium. But even with this faraway shot, you can still see he has kept the car right in the middle of your shot there. That is that Honda Civic that's been keeping the CHP and law enforcement puzzled as to see what's going to happen next. Stu was saying that most likely they aren't going to be following him from the back, that they're going to wait for this driver to get to them. So they must be setting up their strategy in order to catch up with this person. They obviously know the car. They know the license plate of it. We just don't know if the driver matches the car, if he's actually the owner of the car. But he was wanted for speeding earlier tonight. And as we see this shot get farther and farther away, you can see the traffic starting to build up just a little bit. And I still believe I see that car right there in the middle of the shot. So the car wanted for high speed. It's a difficult thing to see, but as Stu says, he's going to try to get around us and bring us details of this high-speed pursuit. But again, this driver wanted for speeding. Now we're seeing some red and blue lights there, obviously some law enforcement in the area as well. So you might imagine if the Dodger game would be letting up anytime soon, the traffic in that area is going to be pretty heavy, especially with law enforcement following a pursuit suspect.
Looks like we've lost our guy. Stu is trying to get around it at this point, but you can see on the 5 freeway, it looks like there's quite a bit of traffic moving at a nice clip. And earlier we saw this guy just racing through the 5 without any regard for anyone, not using, there he is right there. Looks like this is the residential area when he got off into a residential area at one point. He pulls over. We thought that maybe he would get out of his car. Looked like he did open the door.
Stu said he did get out. He saw his white socks, and then once I guess he didn't feel comfortable about it, got back inside his car, and then suddenly that spotlight from the helicopter above lit him up, and he knew obviously that he couldn't hide any longer, and there it is right there, the car taking off and the pursuit continuing. We first picked it up, as we mentioned, about 20 or so minutes ago. This car was on the 118 freeway doing what you see right there on the right side of your screen, just blazing by other cars on the freeway. We know he was on the 118. We know at times he was on the 5 freeway. And as well as you see here from our live picture from Sky 9, the pursuit continues. Stick around. We're going to take a quick break and hopefully connect back with Stu Mundell.
Oh, looks like we're going
to keep going.
Is this the car right here?
Okay, we are looking at that. Folks, if you look right there in the middle of your screen, you see that one car that's passing all the other cars. That looks like that may be the car that police are chasing. Stu, can you hear us?
Oh, definitely. And what we're doing is law enforcement had a little issue as well. It wasn't just us. But you know what? This is kind of a little unusual. If that is the vehicle that was being pursued, I mean, the silver Honda Civic, it's a common car out here in Southern California. You can see the law enforcement right there, the CHP, just passing him up as well. So we're going to keep an eye on the California Highway Patrol. And we're going to keep an eye on, see if Brendan's also got his eagle eyes out. And he's looking ahead of us on the 5 to see if we can see a vehicle moving quickly. But we're going to keep an eye on it. We got the California Highway Patrol searching right now. They might be trying to catch up. We don't know for a fact, but because I have not heard an exact. Yeah, they're. Yep.
Yeah, Stu, keep an eye on the roads there. We're going to take a quick break here. KCAL 9 News at 9. We'll be right back, and we'll join you back with this breaking news.
Gabriel? I almost want to say Boyle Heights, but I know how picky you are. So let me get you. Oh, Boyle Heights. Boyle Heights. Yep, Boyle Heights. And CHP is officially giving this up. No. The TFR ruined that. I think those are the Newhall units turning around. Ten away, 30 seconds. Well, you know, we get that question all the time. Did you ever see them get away? In this case, this time, I think they actually did get away. These are two of the California Highway Patrol units that were behind them earlier on. They've stopped right there. We've been listening to the traffic. They lost ops on them somewhere on the 5, probably in the same area right by Stadium Way is what we were hearing was the last place they saw the vehicle. Again, did he get off the freeway? Did he stay on? Not really sure, but we can tell you California Highway Patrol let this one go, and so did we. We could have done a little better, maybe get a better eye on it, but we have to follow the rules just like everybody else, and TFR kept us a distance away. So the vehicle wanted for speed got away this evening, but that doesn't mean that they don't have a license plate, because they do. But they'll probably door knock it. But you know what? Hopefully that guy doesn't hurt anybody, doesn't hurt himself. But this evening over here in Boyle Heights, southbound 5, these are the last 2 units, and that vehicle has gave them the slip. Live in Sky 9, Stu Mundell. Back to you two in the studio. Sure. That's not. I mean, that's you guys' call. They were sending us to a dead body in Anaheim. Yes, sir. All right. Well, how are we going to find him? Fast-moving vehicle? What's up? What's up? Oh, I'm sorry, guys, on Facebook. Sorry about that. I'm glad I wasn't swearing. We're moving over to the 110 freeway because there's some rumors that there was a fast-moving vehicle on the 110, so we're moving our way over here. Again, it just seems like dumb luck where we're always in a spot where I can't tune in with you guys. South end of Los Angeles is not a happy spot for the. Oh, look at that! I got internet. Well, kinda. Everybody's asking about the vacation on the other social media. Did they arrest the driver? No, the driver seemed to have gotten away. William, thank you for that. You know I do, but you know I have to be professional. Yeah, Casey, just look for a silver set. You guys point it out, and I'll push into it. I'll tell you that. And if he was going 110, he's going to be at the 105. Yeah, I was just going to say. So, Northern California. Yeah, we're going to keep an ear out and an eye out, but I'm really thinking that this guy got away. Give you guys a pretty picture of downtown Los Angeles. They're keeping us up for the top of the 10. I guess I'm going to do the, hey, there was a chase, but now there's no chase. Unless there's another chase. Well, Jasmine, are you talking about driving behind him or following with the camera? Montreal. Maybe I'll go to Canada. You guys are a little behind. I'm just watching. The camera just made the move. I've been on this for a while. So, guys and gals, if you're here for the pursuit, it is over. We're going to do highlights. If you guys are local, KCAL, channel 9, top of the 10 will probably be the top thing. Hopefully they have a little highlight reel, but it's just car driving crazy. Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't a little more crude about that too. We had another story in Anaheim Hills that they wanted us to go to. Sorry, Steve. I feel your pain. Dan, I did not miss that pursuit. I was at home, depending upon what day it was, enjoying myself. Not that pursuits are not, I mean, it's work. It's work. It's work. Jasmine, I believe you. I believe you. Georgia seems to be a Johnny Cash fan. What? What, the pursuit? All right, I got the scanner up. Lynn, this guy is in the harbor already. If he kept up those speeds. Newton is behind us. Hang on. I'm listening to Newton. Are you sure? Newton's right there. Well, right there. Yes, sir, Mark. What did he say? Sorry, Mark. What was the question? We were listening to something else going on right kind of underneath us. What's up? I have no idea. Maybe they looked away for a second and he got off the freeway. I don't know. There's LAPD right there, going into Newton right there. See him? He's just going over the Coliseum. All right, I'm going to turn the scanner back up. Let's go take a peek. Where are they at? They're going to switch. Asking for backup. He's a little south for Newton. Better location. That's what I need. On Century. Hey, TOC, we're going to start wandering a little bit farther south. There might be another one popping up. You want us to switch to Wilson West? They're going to do a traffic stop. And a location. Come on, guys. Northbound on the 110 freeway. Manchester. He's right here, dude. Manchester, northbound 110 at Manchester. Yeah, man, he's turning around. It's got to be like right here. Yeah. He's got it. Coming up to Manchester. He's... There, he's going the wrong way. Don't follow the cop. Don't follow the cop. Anything else you need from us, you just let us know, okay, Mark? Dude, we're going to lose our microwave signal. This is it. Yep. Yes, it is. They're not behind it. All right, he's going northbound on the other side. I can't see him. You got to cross. You got to cross. You got to cross. There he is. He's going out towards that southbound Fig. Southbound Fig. Ran a red light. Dude, where are you going? Yeah, he's on the other side of the freeway, way south. Southbound Figueroa approaching Century-ish. South Los Angeles. Can we speed up? Oh, he's turning again. Lady of the night. What's up? What's up on 6? Yes. Yes. Westbound 91st from Fig. Of course, behind some trees. Oh, you guys could have told me you weren't going to take us. All right, copy. It was an on again for sure at very high speeds. We're working to keep this vehicle in the picture. We are very low, and he's actually working his way again into another area where we are not going to be allowed. This was a pursuit from earlier on. Started up in the Newhall area and worked its way basically on the streets out there in the Granada Hills area. I'm not sure if Brendan has the vehicle. You do have the vehicle, okay. And so we're going to keep an eye on him right now. LAPD's working to get other units, ground units behind him, and they're going to try to pull him over. That's going to be the plan. They had him lit up earlier on. He has really started moving very, very quickly. Ran from the helicopter, and there were some ground units. He gave them the slip as well. Now this is LAPD. This is since they've refound the vehicle. Now it's working its way westbound. And you can see the car basically just kind of moving slowly away from us, block by block by block. We're going to keep an eye on it. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. It's actually moving its way southbound towards the 105 freeway. So we're going to be on Hoover, I believe it is. You can see LAPD, there you go. First unit's getting behind it right there. Usually they're going to wait for backup, and then they're going to turn on their lights and sirens after the backup gets there. But because of the issues that they've been having with the vehicle, they might do it a little bit farther. Now we're working our way westbound, 106. The original want for this vehicle, speed. Honda Civic started up in the Newhall area, so you can think like the 118-405 area. And it was California Highway Patrol originally in the pursuit, and now it seems like LAPD is going to be picking it up.
So, Stu, at one point in time, this was over 100 miles per hour that this suspect vehicle was going, correct?
Oh, most definitely, Jeff. And at one time, it was doing about 90 miles an hour on Rinaldi. And if you know that in the valley, Rinaldi, it's a straight street. It parallels the 118, but it is still kind of a residential street. You can see the LAPD behind that vehicle right now. I'm going to try to get you some streets here in just a second. We're kind of paralleling it. Coming up on Imperial, and you can see this vehicle. He's been on the freeways, a lot on the freeways, seems to enjoy the freeways. Right there, that's going to be Imperial, so we're going to be passing through Imperial right there. 105 freeway is going to be next. LAPD, they have got two vehicles behind it. Don't know if they're going to light this guy up and turn it back into a full pursuit, or they're going to go into tracking mode. But at any rate, this is the vehicle from earlier this evening. That was moving extremely high speeds, and it looks like we're going to be getting onto the 105 freeway. Again, I would be guessing maybe that was Western. Don't quote me on that. And but definitely going to be working our way eastbound on the 105 freeway.
And Stu, at what point did the ground units with the LAPD re-engage in this pursuit? Because I know for a while there were no ground units with them.
Well, they were actually behind him on the 110 freeway for a little bit. And then he got off the freeway. The helicopter actually picked it up, and the ground units seemed to have missed it. So that's how they didn't. They were behind him, but they never lit him up. They have the license plate from earlier on, so they knew that this was the vehicle. As soon as that helicopter from LAPD got overhead, turned on that night sun, he really started to move on the surface streets. But by this time, he had given the cruisers, the LAPD cruisers, the slip. So they had to get some other units back into place. Those are the ones we see that are kind of behind them. But again, LAPD, they're going to want to stay a little bit farther behind. They don't have their lights and sirens on, but the helicopter is overhead. They're going to keep an eye on him, and hopefully they're just going to follow this guy to a point. Maybe he'll just get out of the car like he did before. They'll pound the vehicle, and then the owner's going to have to come pick it up. But right now, starting back with these high speeds on the freeway, again, it seems like it's not that big of a deal, but when you're going 100 and something miles an hour, you're looking over your shoulder, a little bit paranoid, other drivers not expecting it. Believe me, this is a dangerous situation. Law enforcement, they have to weigh it. They have to say how much danger do we want to put the public in, how much danger is the public in, and of course, how much danger we want to put our law enforcement in. Right now, though, moving about 80, 90 miles an hour, eastbound 105 freeway. We'll get you some cities here in just a moment.
Yeah, and that's not even to mention that this is at night, and of course you're going 100 plus miles an hour. You got the traffic in there, and you got people that might not be able to see, when it comes to 100 miles per hour, and you're going in the darkness here. Might be one of those things. You see this driver pretty aggressive, Susie, going all the way from the left-hand lane, the fast lane, all the way over, almost looking like they were going to exit the freeway, then back over to the left again, merging in and out of traffic at a pretty high rate of speed. At one point in time, it was going over 100 miles an hour. This all started in Newhall. Now, I understand that the police aircraft missed him and lost this driver when they were in restricted airspace over Dodger Stadium at one point in time. They were able to pick this vehicle back up, and that's where we are now, going eastbound on the 105.
And this has kind of been their MO for the entire pursuit since we picked it up just before 9:30 this evening, is kind of slipping police officers and also going in the emergency lane at a high rate of speed, just swerving around cars, even in residential areas. We saw at one point, I know we have video of it, of the driver making a really wide turn, almost crashing into another car, but they barely missed him. Again, this started in the Granada Hills area, in the residential area of Granada Hills. There were some ground units chasing this pursuit at one point, and then they kind of backed off after they lost him. And then there was a point in a neighborhood where he went inside we don't know if actually it's a woman or a male driver at this point, but the driver went into a neighborhood where it was pretty dark, and we lost him at one point for a second there, Stu.
Yeah.
Susie, Jeff, that for sure, but he got back in the vehicle. He seems to feel a little safer in that car, but he's not making a very safe situation for the folks around him, and that's the issue this evening. Still eastbound on the 105, approaching the 710 already. So we made our way basically in and out of the Linwood area, getting into the, it's going to be coming up on Long Beach here, East Compton, if we keep this up. So 710 is where we're going to be right about now. This vehicle is still moving along. You were talking about it too, Jeff. You were saying every lane for sure. Center threading the needle, moving in and out. Emergency lanes at some point. I was kind of hoping maybe he'd pick up a nail or something, some debris when he was in that emergency lane just to give himself a flat tire, like a self-imposed spike strip. Hasn't happened. This vehicle continuing to move, though, very quickly, about 95 miles an hour. That light that you're seeing right there, that is going to be the LAPD. They're in tracking mode. They might hand this off to the California Highway Patrol because you're staying on the freeway. California Highway Patrol, they kind of want to get this guy pulled over. That was theirs to begin with, gave him the slip. Maybe it's a little prideful, but these guys are professionals. This guy is breaking the law. You can see it right there, getting into one of the spots where cars are around him, kind of pushing his way through there. Very dangerous situation for sure. Car moving about 95 miles an hour this evening, and now speeding up again just a little bit as we're working our way into the Downey area. Anybody that drives the 105 knows the 105 is going to be coming to an end here at the 605 shortly. He's going to have to make a decision. Got plenty of options. But let's hope he keeps it at least to minimum speeds, and hopefully nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, let's bring you up to speed real quick here for the KCAL Night viewer. This is a pursuit of a driver wanted for speeding. This is a silver Honda Civic that you see there in the center part of your screen, going to way above the speed limit, 95, 100 plus miles per hour. And you can see some pretty aggressive driving, swerving from the left to the right lane, in and out of traffic. We understand that this police know who this car is registered to, but they do not know if that's the driver or not. Once again, Susie, this is LAPD pursuit. They have an airship above, and this is a driver wanted for speeding.
It all started in the residential area of the Granada Hills area, the Newhall area, Stu was mentioning. It was on the 118 freeway at one point, and also on the 5 freeway. We went through the cities of Burbank and Griffith Park, and through Elysian Park. Looks like he's getting off and off-ramp right now. Are we still in the Downey right now, Stu?
We are definitely coming in the Downey area for sure. Let's get you some streets here in just a moment.
Back on.
U-turn. Wow. U-turns seem to be one of his favorite things to do. You can see one of the vehicles right there. I'm going to get a little bit. It is the California Highway Patrol and LAPD above it. So this is they've got their ducks in a row this time. That vehicle making that sharp U-turn. He was doing that earlier on this evening a lot on surface streets in the Granada Hills area. So now working his way back onto the 105 freeway, working his way back westbound. But California Highway Patrol, lights and sirens behind him. It's going to give the public a little bit heads up what's going on. And of course, that night sun as well. Let's see if they keep this. They're going to keep it in their sights this time, I'm sure. Hopefully, he's not going to do anything that's going to be too crazy, and hopefully nobody's going to get hurt. High speeds is what this vehicle is wanted for, and he's definitely been proving that over and over again. 2000 something Honda Civic is what it is, 4-door. Again, only thing they wanted this guy was for speed. So you got to wonder if there might be something else to this. Maybe the driver has some warrants. Maybe there's something else in the car. Maybe he's impaired. But high speeds is the reason why they wanted to pull this guy over. And, you know, if a speeding ticket is a speeding ticket. Now this is so much more.
Yeah, we were, as I was mentioning, the driver went through the cities of Burbank, Griffith Park, and at Dodger Stadium and Elysian Park. We actually saw, we had to drive back away from the pursuit because of flight restrictions above Dodger Stadium, because there is a game going on tonight. And that's when we were able to, after that, near the 110, we were able to get back on this pursuit. Stu, I understand earlier we were talking about the CHP talking about possibly intercepting him at some point, getting ahead of the pursuit. Is that how they were able to find him again?
You know what? I'm not really sure exactly how they repicked this up. It was LAPD, somebody from LAPD with a good eye. Maybe this vehicle was still driving fast, but it was because of the license plate. And they picked this up on the 110 freeway south of the 105. So he had made his way south and was working his way back north again when they picked it back up. That little rope-de-dope that he did with those officers was on Manchester off the 110 freeway. But the helicopter was in place and actually saw the vehicle making those maneuvers, lit him up, and that's when the chase was kind of back on. And now with that helicopter, the LAPD helicopter calling out streets, the officers on the ground could keep up. Once he got back established back onto the freeways, now we're on the 105, now it's back into the California Highway Patrol's hands. They have one unit behind this vehicle right now. You've really got to hand it to that one officer doing what he can. There's a second one right there, thank goodness. So he's got a little bit of backup right now, but this vehicle continues to use all lanes, emergency lanes included, squeezing between, making his own lanes, like right there. And that is what the problem is. This is the reason why they want to bring this to a stop. High speeds, it would have been a speeding ticket. Now it's going to be so much more. Again, you have to understand, this started all the way up in the Granada Hills area, maybe Porter Ranch. Now we're down South Los Angeles, Linwood area, 105 approaching the 110 already. So it gives you an idea how quickly this car is moving this evening.
Yeah, the center of your screen, there's that silver Honda Civic. That driver behind the wheel wanted for speeding, that's it. And that began around 9:30. Police put on their reds and blues, and that driver did not pull over. And then we are at this point in time now, we're on the highway. This is East 105, over 100 miles per hour, the speed limit that he is taking. Of course, the posted speed limit there's probably around 65. It's always interesting when you see these pursuits. The driver who's breaking all these rules still has the frame of mind to use the turn signal when they are changing lanes, which is odd to me. But this driver, it appears, doesn't even have the nighttime running lights on. It appears like it's just the daylight running lights, because you see it next to the other cars. It's not as bright of a headlight as the ones. So you wonder if that's not even that person's car. If they don't know what they're, this is, maybe they're hitting the turn signal because they're not very familiar with this vehicle. We know that the police have said that they know who this car is registered to. We don't know if that's the person behind the wheel.
Could be a stolen car.
Could be a stolen car. It's got to be something more than speeding, you would think, because why wouldn't you stop for the police if it's, just a speeding infraction? But this is obviously a lot more than that. As we continue to follow this pursuit on the West 105 freeway, I believe it's going eastbound, and this is now in Linwood.
Yeah, that's right. And this is, still a lot of questions, as you were mentioning, Jeff. There's so many question marks tonight. At what point is this person going to run out of gas? And as Stu was mentioning, he's going 100 plus miles per hour, has definitely gone through many, many cities throughout Southern California on the 118 freeway, the 5 freeway, the 110 freeway, the 105. You got to wonder, at what point is this Honda Civic going to be running out of gas? We know it's a Honda Civic. It's a newer model, pretty good gas mileage, I'm pretty sure, but going at that high rate of speed, I don't know how long that person is going to be lasting.
I do want to correct myself real quick. This is the westbound 105. I mentioned the eastbound. It's right there on your screen, West 105 freeway. Again, this is a silver Honda Civic. The driver wanted for speeding.
Yeah, what else are they running from? If this was just a matter of speeding, if this was the initial want, then, why are they running? You got to ask that question as well. We don't know if this person is alone. We don't know if the driver is alone, or if they have passengers with them. We also don't know if this person is armed. It's
amazing when you get the picture like that and you come out of focus a little bit, you can see just how fast that car is going. When it's up close and you see him passing vehicles, it's not as impactful as when you take a look now. We got 3 CHP units behind. You see the airship as well, which is LAPD. At one point in time, there's just CHP and then LAPD was just following. So now this is a full on pursuit. pursuit, I believe, and you'll see 3 units behind. You see the car. See how fast it's going? Yeah. And of course, the night sun is being provided by the helicopter and LAPD.
Yeah, let's go back up to Stu Mandel live in Sky 9. Stu.
Well, northbound 110 freeway is our location right now, probably past Century already. Just heard him call out the Century off-ramp. Coming up on Manchester. Now, Manchester's where he got off a little earlier on. Don't know if he's familiar with that area. Don't know if he was just kind of wondering if he could maybe give these guys the slip. Definitely seems like he's really pulling over to the right. So you got that sound wall right there. So maybe we're going to be doing Century one more time. Manchester one more time. It does appear he's getting back off on Manchester. So perhaps familiar with this area. Sound wall right there. We'll get a shot of him as he makes his way around right there, which won't be long because he is moving very quickly. Working his way to the head of the line and running a red light. Crossing in front of a bunch of people right there. Manchester, that's the 110 freeway, going to be working his way westbound, but he's been on a lot of other roads. He's been on a lot of other freeways. Now, just because he's gotten off the freeway, northbound Figueroa from Manchester, just because he's gotten off the freeway doesn't mean automatically that CHP just goes, oh, we're done. LAPD, it's yours. They're going to stay behind this for a bit. They might hand it off. They might not. That's all in all the politics of the law enforcement. Right now, though, I'm worried about red lights. I'm worried about small neighborhoods. We saw some people standing out on the streets earlier on. His vehicle came very close to pedestrians. If he doesn't know this neighborhood,
let's see what happens here.
It just came to a stop. That is it.
Okay, his hands are out. That's a good sign. Police are probably instructing him to throw the keys out the window.
Bizarre. That's after all that and running around, he just kind of comes to a stop. But, you know, Jeff, you are very right about that. The keys have not come out. He has played this game before. But right now, hands are out, weapons are out from California Highway Patrol. This was a very high-speed pursuit, weaving in and out, lots of strange goings-ons. Right now, though, doors open, so it does seem like this is the first time we're going to see that suspect besides his white socks from earlier on. Getting out, he seems like he's complying. Thank goodness nobody got hurt. And great work for law enforcement. You have to understand. One of LAPD's one of their guys on the ground saw this car, realized that was the plate. I mean, what kind of that is incredible work on that officer's part, and the pursuit was back on. They had lost it for a good 15 minutes at least, and it made it. The last locations we saw it was up by Dodger Stadium. They picked it up south of the 110 freeway 105. This suspect now complying. And it does seem like they're going to be taking him into custody, and of course they're going to have to check the car. No officers injured, no civilians injured, and actually no damage to any other vehicles as well.
And it doesn't look like anyone else is inside the car, right?
Well, they're always going to check the trunk, but it definitely, I would say 99% chance that vehicle is clear. We didn't see anybody earlier on when the car stopped, the doors popped open. They would have had to left that person in there. But they have to go through their motions. They have to do what they do to make sure that they are safe, and also check that trunk. Gosh only knows if maybe somebody might be in that trunk. We haven't ever seen it, but there's a first time for everything.
Okay, as police go through that vehicle, you can see the suspect is in custody. This is the end of LA's latest pursuit of a driver wanted for speeding. As we continue to follow this here on KCAL 9, let's get to some other news, however. Heartbreak and tears tonight as the community gathers to remember a young boy. He was killed while crossing the street in front of his home. And neighbors tonight say this is a dangerous street and they want something done.
That's right. KCAL 9's Rachel Kim is live tonight in Pomona, where family and friends are showing their support and frustration. Rachel.
Yeah, Susie and Jeff, Damian Bonilla was hit and killed behind me on a normally busy Foothill Boulevard, not too far away. You can still see some balloons people brought to a vigil tonight to remember the 12-year-old. A grieving mother is comforted by the warmth of the community surrounding her tonight. 12-year-old Damian Bonilla's mom could barely stand on her own. She's devastated by her son's death.
You know, Damian touched a lot of people's hearts. You know, you see all these kids out here, whether they either were his neighbors, his schoolmates, anything, you know, he touched a lot of people's hearts.
Damian Bonilla was struck and killed by a driver on Foothill Boulevard in Pomona last night while he was crossing the street with two friends from the Dollar Tree store. Police say the driver who hit the boy stayed on scene and is cooperating with investigators.
I want my baby. I want my baby.
Tonight, a show of love and support for Damien's family. His favorite things among the flowers and candles that people brought to remember him on the sidewalk in front of the inn where he lived with his family. They say this section of the street should have a crosswalk. The nearest crossing is a signal about a block away.
It doesn't make sense for these kids to walk all the way down to the light just to walk all the way up here. You know, it doesn't make sense. There needs to be a crosswalk right here.
The superintendent of the Pomona Unified School District says city leaders are listening and will see